Greetings fellow Vita fans, this is James with PS Vita at 2 AM, coming at you once again with another exciting video. And if you're new here and love everything PlayStation Vita, well, you know what to do, don't forget to subscribe. I guess it's no secret at this point that Dragon Quest builders had a pretty nice restock from PlayAsia, which is good considering that game is a bit more sought after these days. And buying it at MSRP is nothing but win, and having to avoid eBay prices is even more win, unless you're me and you paid some of those eBay prices in the past because you didn't know PlayAsia was going to get a restock. That's another can of worms to open. But what about some other games, you might be asking? Are there any other games available on PlayAsia that are more rarer titles that we can still buy at MSRP? Oh, there's quite a lot of them. Today we are going to be focusing on some of the bigger titles that you may not know are rare. And let me know which games you own currently in your collection that are rare. I'd love to hear from you. Plus, make sure to stay till the end of the video because we have a Patreon question to answer. Let's start off with one of the most beloved titles on the PlayStation Vita and also one of the most beloved franchises. Well, one of them is, while the other one's kind of underrated, but we'll get to that soon enough. This is Accel World vs. Sword Art Online, merging the best of both worlds from each series. The world of Sword Art Online and the accelerated world have begun to merge. In the midst of the chaos, Yu has gone missing. Kirito must challenge the 7 kings of pure color from the accelerated world to gain access to her location. The title in question plays more like a Sword Art Online game, which makes perfect sense because there hasn't been really a ton of Accel World games to ever come out, maybe like 3 or so, and they've never left Japan. And the game in question has you playing an MMORPG about a character playing an MMORPG. And no, not gonna use that meme again, I've used it way too much already. But the reason why we're talking about this title today is that about a year or so back, this game was going for roughly around $150 to $200 for the Vita on eBay depending on its condition. So the fact that you can now pick this up for $39.99 USD on PlayAsia because they got a restock is once again win. Should mention real quickly though, the game doesn't have the best frame rate I've ever seen in my entire life, but just overclock and you should be good. Now for the next game, and I hope you love playing baseball because that's exactly what you're going to be doing in this next title. Okay, now for this game, I wouldn't exactly say it's the most rarest title out there, but it does seem to be pretty sought after for people who are into imports, or if you live in Japan, regular release games. I guess that's what they'd call them there. And because PlayAsia often has sales on them, which they're running one right now, you can get this for a much needed discounted price. Now, this is a PlayAsia description, I gotta warn you, so there's gonna be some English again. But honestly here, would we have it any other way? Captured the faces of the players from 360-degree photographing, and 3D data was used to create the character models. Correct physical lighting by rendering technique. Players have their own artificial intelligence, with reproducing the actions they are likely to take based on their past performance. Uses the latest 2019 player data. Players that join the mid-season is added to the game via free updates. And I should mention that yes, if you get the 2019 version, which I think is the latest version for the PS Vita, you can get the 2020 version as well. And it's all free. Much to love there. Free is like my favorite word. Game third on our list is Oreshika Tainted Bloodlines. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, this should look very familiar to you. And it seems that PlayAsia has got yet another restock of it in, and I think they've had it for a while. Are you doing things behind my back, PlayAsia? Are you? Guide your clan over multiple generations on an epic quest to lift a curse against your bloodline, battling cruel enemies and spectacular bosses in this turn-based RPG set in ancient Japan. Choose from 8 unique classes for the warriors of your clan, including Fencer, Martial Artist, and Gunner. Beautiful graphics deliver a rich world like a Japanese watercolor painting come to life. Use the Vita's camera to take pictures of yourself and create a clan leader molded after your own appearance who spawns generations of warriors throughout your quest, which is probably one of the most interesting features of this game. Interact with your friends in-game lands to buy exotic items and encounter rare gods to aid you in your adventure. And I guess at this point you probably no doubt know the drill by now. It was a rare game, going for like over $100 on eBay, which I still don't understand because it seemed to be a pretty plentiful run when it came to copies, but for some reason people were charging that. But now is your chance to pick it up at regular price. Now here's a game that needs no introduction, or maybe it does, depending on whether you've heard of it or not. This is Soul Sacrifice Delta. Think of it as the PlayStation Vita's answer to Monster Hunter. And with that phrase alone, it's gonna sell a ton of copies. Soul Sacrifice Delta is the ultimate edition of Soul Sacrifice, which is the vanilla version, with a lot of new content and improvements. Grim, the faction who believes in neutrality in all things, joins the bloodthirsty Avalon in the merciful sanctuary and adds a third angle to bring the Delta in Soul Sacrifice. Grim's beliefs, rooted in the prophecy they will seek to realize, will bring about changes to the world as we know it. The concept of faction is now at the heart of the game, with players able to join the side of their choice, each with their own strengths and play styles. Players from each faction can now register their overall progress. So as I mentioned before, this is pretty much the PlayStation Vita's answer to Monster Hunter. Many of the rules here apply, and you will notice that the gameplay style is very similar to it. Now the reason why this is called Soul Sacrifice Delta is because it's an improved version on the vanilla release, which was the first one, called just Soul Sacrifice, which I think you can get for pretty cheap nowadays. But they cram so much new content into Soul Sacrifice Delta, it might as well be its own game. So I would say, if you have bought Soul Sacrifice Delta and maybe didn't know that there was actually a bigger, badder, better version of it, I said better twice in that sentence, then I can't highly recommend Soul Sacrifice Delta enough, especially if you're into Monster Hunter. And might I add, guys, it has online play, of which I do believe is active to this day. Unintentional rhyme. And yep, this was yet another PlayStation Vita cartridge victim of people trying to oversell it, even though copies were pretty plentiful with it. Oh, you scalpers, you never miss a beat, do you? We do have to come to the sad realization, however, that there will come a time that once these copies are all gone from PlayAsia, like 100% completely gone, prices will more than likely go up on eBay again. So now's your chance, guys. Take it! Because if you don't, the scalpers win. Normally, this is the part of the video where I would say, alright guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. However, in this case, I can't do that just yet, because today we have a Patreon question. And this comes from Skullshirtugel TCG, and he asks, do you think the Vita will have any compatibility with the PlayStation 5? Now, being that we already have seen the big reveal for Sony's upcoming newest console, or system, because I can't say console, or as some people say in some places, the Seto Kaiba system, and knowing what we know so far, I'm leaning a little bit more towards no, unfortunately. And yeah, I know it kills me to say that, but based on the specs and everything we've been seeing, I don't really see them including anything like a cartridge slot or anything like that for the Vita, but I still do think we have a high chance of seeing PlayStation Vita games on the PlayStation 5 store digitally. You know, for what that's worth. Plus, we may still have a small chance of them implementing remote play with the PlayStation Vita via the PlayStation 5. I know that speeds could be a potential problem for it, especially because you're having to take into consideration that the Vita is 2011 technology, but I think that we might at least have a chance at that. But knowing Sony and the way they're implementing remote play with so many other devices, I don't know. But I think that's a feature we may have a small chance of seeing. And that's pretty much my thoughts at this time. We'll have to see more about what the PlayStation 5 is about as we get closer, of course, to launch, but that's just my opinion for the time being. And if you would like to see one of your questions answered live on here, make sure to check out the Patreon down in the description below. Now, of course, is the time for me to ask you, what did you think about all these games? Or even, hey, the Patreon question that you just heard me answer. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And as always, fellow Vita fans, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me. Love you all, and I'll see you next time. The following video has been brought to you in part by all of these wonderfully generous people who help make this content possible, including Burzin Mystery, Redouan Aloy, Eric DeWitt, Gutter Drums, Hemdall Imbert, Wendy K, David Ray, Phantom XRS, Saul Ramirez, Kyle Brooks, JR, E-Rock, Pierce Sterner, Adam Theory, Skullshirtugel TCG, BMF, Ruben Gutierrez, Joshua Williams, Jared Haddo, Kevin Enright, Heston Joseph, Aaron Swanson, Rodrigo Vera, Hero Acer, Adam Sondi, Dennis R. Huggins Jr., Richard Cruz, Buzz Sayin, Jelle, Mario Cruz, Larry Anderson, B Mystery, Matt Fox, Reiko Star, and Neo Arashi. If you would be interested in supporting the channel and seeing your name on this end screen here, or if you wish to remain anonymous, that's cool too, then make sure to check the links down in the description below. I have numerous ways for you to do so down there. That's Seto Kaiba PS5. Once seen, it cannot be unseen.